Welcome to another episode of the Contractor Grow Show. My name is Mark, and today I'm really excited to speak to three enterprising men who put together this amazing company: Brad Langerak, Alan Blair, and Ben Byerly with ConX in Castle Rock, right here, Colorado. Beautiful Castle Rock right down the road. Guys, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so really excited about the offering that you guys have. It's really interesting. You guys have got a background in construction, backgrounds in different fields even, and bringing your own individual skills to this. But Brad, you're the CEO of ConX. Maybe you could just give us a rundown of what the services that you guys offer and how it helps contractors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's essentially a labor sharing portal for the construction industry. And then we also have some elements of labor management on here as well. It was initially, the concept came to me about 9-10 years ago, dealing with the same issues I dealt with as my electrical career as an electrical contractor in Michigan. And it's really just dealing with the constant fluctuations of the labor demand that contractors deal with. Our demand fluctuates nonstop. And I don't understand our industry, we like to explain this, that you have 30 workers in the field, you're going to work for 20 to 40. And most of the time you're going to be either overstaffed or understaffed. And so that's going to be either way, you're losing money. You're losing money because you're paying people to stand around. You're losing money because you're paying overtime. So what we try to do is we create a labor sharing portal and we automate the process. So labor sharing has been going on for decades in the construction industry. It's usually done within a small network of individuals that you're tied to, but it takes a lot of time, a lot of phone calls and emails, time spent, a lot of soft costs, overhead costs that are involved in that process. So what we did is we created a software platform that automates that. So you can put a request out for extra workers needed, or you can put a notification out with excess workers that you have, and other contractors can either loan to you or borrow from you. So it creates a new revenue stream for contractors. So if you have extra workers, you can loan them out and profit on them without paying them to stand around. And what does is flattens out that probably one of the biggest stress points that contractors have which is the labor. It's also the hardest place for them to make a profit. And so it helps that increase their profitability, increase their margins, help them with those times that they need to get over a quick hump, that they're falling behind, or that they have a gap, that they have excess labor. That's the main point of it, is that labor is sharing. So we focus on labor, which is about 65% of a project cost. It's the hardest place for those contractors to make labor. So we really want to heavily focus there to help our contractors be more successful, help them grow easier, really eliminate a lot of stress and add time to their days. There's a lot of different elements on this thing that will save contractors time each and every day that they use our system.
Fascinating. You guys refer to yourself as Airbnb of construction labor sharing. Totally fascinating concepts. Everyone knows about, obviously, Airbnb invented some of this kind of sharing economy. And now there's so many apps that you can share all kinds of things, right? Share cars, share tools, right? Share probably heavy construction equipment, right? I don't know about all the different things there are, but we look around for things that we can borrow instead of go buy and invest in. And it seems like there's apps and platforms that have got those things covered really in every area. I've never really heard about sharing labor. So it's fascinating that you guys have perfected this. And as we talk about on the show here, in pretty much every episode, I mentioned asking folks how they deal with labor. I've been a builder, been on that side of it a lot. And yeah, either the crew is too big or it's too small. And so you guys have invented a platform where when it makes that sort of construction crew elastic. And so if you got 40 people on your team, you only need 30, you can loan out 10 guys to someone else who's got 20 and they need 30. Absolutely fascinating. Looking at the different team here. So Alan, you've got a background. You own or work at a chiropractor. You're a doctor of chiropractic, correct?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Doctor of chiropractor, private practice here in Castle Rock for 23 years, all in the same building. I've been blessed to do that. My background is in operations and logistics for sure. And as an undergrad, I wanted certain things, a certain lifestyle. So I worked 50 hours a week while I went to school full time. And so I worked in restaurant management, operations for retail. And then concurrently, while being a doctor and owning a private practice, I was also a firefighter and EMT for 13 years, retired from that in 2020. And so I gleaned lots of different knowledge and background for managing people and projects, and built my practice with $1,500 to my name. I'm blessed to be able to practice with my wife also, and we have another associate doctor also. So as I pivot out of that after 23 years in practice, my body's ready for it. My brain's ready for just new challenges and having to learn a ton, but my practice will still be able to be there to service the needs of our patients and our community. And then I get to bring my skill sets into this to help build relationships and connect people, and to help push this train forward. And Brad is definitely the visionary of this entire thing, and I'm his integrator with all these projects to keep moving things forward.
I love it. And can I ask, how has your experience in being in business all this time, in being in leadership roles, leading your own practice, how has that kind of dovetailed into kind of understanding the needs of your customers over here at ConX in the construction trades, as well as maybe folks on your team, and how you are able to bring those skills to this new project and implement it and really grow this business?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It really, the foundation of it's building relationships, right? And so our practice is extremely successful because we bring something to the table that's unique in our industry and our techniques and how we approach our patients. And that's no different than working with contractors. It's relationships that build trust, right? And so when people come to us, they're coming to us because we have an idea, something that's unique. They've heard about something that's not out there ever before. But then we are out there building relationships and building a trust. So people have that confidence in us because we're out there, we're real, and they can see that, and they can see the emotion that we put into this as well. And then from the other side of it, building a practice with zero debt really until COVID, and that obviously affected lots of us, but we've been able to grow a very successful practice that's self-sustaining through cost controls and building those relationships. And so coming into ConX and helping as we're building this entity out and raising funds for continued development is building those relationships, controlling costs to make sure our traction's there so we can support our customers. And so that's where my skill sets definitely come into play.
Well, love it. And then Ben, leader here on the team as well. You have got a background as a leader and president at Thorcon Shotcrete and Shoring, which is a kind of technical, Colorado-based geotechnical shotcrete contractor known for really complex concrete jobs, sculpted concrete work. And you own this sort of concrete franchise arm of ConX. How does your experience play in here, and what's your aspect of all this, and how does the team work together with you involved as well?
Yeah, definitely, Mark. So before Thorcon, I had an opportunity to work in heavy equipment side of things for about 10 years before Thorcon. So I've had a lot of exposure to all aspects of construction. Had the chance to hear from clients, fellow business owners in construction, concrete, and had the opportunity to meet and work with Brad about 3 years ago. And wow, the whole idea of ConX is just fills so many boxes. The one thing that's universal in all construction, anything with talented trades, skilled people, is how do you find them? How do you keep them? And the way to grow is right there. And ConX, the entire essence of it is designed to help people with that hurdle.
Well, amazing. And as a specialist in concrete, have you seen this come up a lot in the jobs that you've done and out in the field? Is this something that, and I'm getting a sense that it's something that you've come across quite a lot, probably running large concrete jobs where you're standing here looking at a team of men and maybe women, but people have got families at home. People need to bring home a paycheck. And you've really carefully cultivated this crew, and you're not very excited to walk out and say, hey guys, we only need 7 guys on this next job, and you're talking to 11 of them, right? Has this come up so that you have had kind of firsthand experience of this, and it's really solved the problems that you've actually run into yourself running your own crews?
Oh, absolutely. Thorcon works nationwide. So it's a huge component of every time we look at a job, every time we get a big job started and have several people that are crew members that are going to be on the site, where are we putting them after that job's over? Is it a job that if we had the labor in a pool, would we bid it? Would we decide to grow with less risk if we had an opportunity to find skilled craft members in different areas? And then once you get that big job and have 10 other employees, That's not just an employee, it's a family, it's a part of the company. And it's important to make that commitment to them that they're going to be around, that you're going to continue to support and grow them, and they have a place. So all those things come into play when you're a responsible contractor and you want to get more work, you want to get your next level of achievement, sustainability, and really just do the right thing for everyone that works for you. And guess what? ConX is a platform that literally addresses that situation.
Amazing. Fantastic. So Brad, if I'm a contractor and I have got a crew of 20 people, say I've got 4 residential projects happening, residential remodels happening at a time, or maybe a larger kind of industrial kind of commercial contractor, but say I've got 20 people and I want to work with ConX to help me manage our team, because for some areas in winter or different times or based on different projects, my crew may scale down to say 12 or 13 people. Other times it's up at like 30 people. How practically does the platform work and integrate with like my team? I show up and say, I hear this interview and I say, this is great, I'm going to give these guys a call. What are some steps to walk through the process? What does intake look like? And then what does it look like to work with the platform on a day-to-day basis such that I have success with your tool?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so there's a couple different elements from where you're answer your question. So first off, it's I want to let everybody know that it's free to join. That's one thing that we try to do is create an environment or tool that's free for our contractors. Really, at the end of the day, is we're all about the success of our contractors. This is a passion project for me. I'm passionate about construction. I go into schools to talk about construction. So this is, like I said, this is a very passion project for me. So I want to see those succeed. So one thing we did is we got rid of any monthly subscription. Don't ask for a credit card when you join. So you get to join and you get access to the pool to loan and borrow within. And the only time you ever pay is when you're actually borrowing an individual. And then one thing we did is, because again, we want to try to give a solution for all labor. To your point, when you scale down, this is where you can loan out your individuals. So what somebody would do is when they come on, they would join our website, just ConX-USA.com. It's our marketing site. And then from there, you can go into create your account, put in very simple information. You'll get an email, they'll verify, and they'll bring you to, they'll create the rest of your information. And the first thing you do is you add your employees. We give 3 very simple steps to add your employees. And what you do is you'll put in specific information. So again, electrical background, so I don't talk more about the electrical industry than any other, is you enter obviously the person's name, address, email, what their skill set is, specialty, licensure level. So obviously you pick electrical for the trade. What level are they? First year apprentice, journeyman, 4th year apprentice, you pick that in. And then where are their specialties? Are they commercial, residential, industrial? Do they know fire alarm, combat, or DOT? So all the little specialties that are important for contractors to know that where somebody's skill set really lies. So you enter those in there along with their hourly wage. And then what happens as soon as you enter them in, they get an email as well, and then they can actually create their own login. And we have a worker portal that they get to track their own schedules on. And so they actually now can look at their login on a Sunday evening and say, okay, where am I supposed to be on Monday? And they see it. So it cuts down a lot of communication errors, cuts a lot of time spent in communications. So that's one of the tools. So as far as managing your projects, we create what is a virtual whiteboard. Every contractor has whiteboards in their office with job names scattered across at the top and their employees on magnets. So if you've got 4 crews, you'll have an individual on each of their magnets, and you'll have 4 projects across that. You can slide those magnets around on your whiteboard. So that's typically how contractors do it. We automated that. It doesn't do a whole lot of good on your wall. So when you're bouncing around, your project manager running 4 jobs, you got to take a photograph of that whiteboard. And hope that doesn't get changed while you're on the office. Now you have your phone in your hand. You have it in your phone, your iPad, your computer, and you can see who's on that job when you pull up. Pull the parking lot, take a look on there. It shows you the license level for all the individuals on that job. So it helps you easier track that project. And then if you make changes on that, your employee actually gets notified. So if you move somebody and it pops up a calendar, you say, okay, on Monday, you're going to report here. They'll get a notification saying, hey, on Monday, you're getting moved to this other project here to report to. So we've got some really great tools. So the twofold on your question is, hey, obviously when you scale down, blow your people out, scale up, borrow a few, but then you can also manage your employees through our whiteboard, and that's free. We've got some really great back-end stuff that we're going to add, cost tools of costing for your project on the labor really track your costs on your labor. That will have a monthly subscription for very small. The biggest thing that we did with this thing is we kept it simple. One of the biggest compliments we get is the simplicity of it. We have contractors join, enter their employees, and put a bar request on without ever talking to a ConX employee. And we want to keep it that way. There's some great tools, great software out there, but they're so complex. There's a long learning curve that contractors don't have time for. And a lot of times they got to hire an employee just to manage it. And we will always keep ConX simplistic and easy, and it will work from a one guy in a truck to we have contractors on the East Coast that have 5,000 electricians. It'll work for every level, and they will be able to utilize multiple different tools, use out of it what you can. It's the nice thing about it. So pick and choose, use what you want, what's going to work best for you.
Amazing. I love it. Amazing that it's free to join. That's a bold move. And I love even no credit card. That really says a lot about the kind of value proposition that you guys are offering on the marketplace. It's rare. Fascinating. Okay. A lot of contractors we talk with, they have grown everything they do by word of mouth, maybe some trade shows. I'm curious, Alan, what has been you guys, some of the different things you guys have done to grow? Has it all been word of mouth? You guys do some trade shows, some outreach, some marketing. How do you grow a tool like this in 2025 and 2026?
Definitely some utilization in social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, creating videos. We operate on a very lean budget right now. And so I do a lot of production, utilization of AI for producing stuff. I've gotten very good at that. Our networks we're blessed to have very massive networks between the different relationships that we've built. And so we're able to utilize those networks to help to propagate that information. And then connecting with these trade organizations. Brad and I just came back from visiting a trade organization on the East Coast in Baltimore and got to spend some time doing their end of year party, networking with contractors face to face out there and building those relationships, and then going in and touring the organization and the schools that they have and spending time with them, so that because it's a one-on-one, it's helping individuals understand what it is that we have to offer, because they just don't know. There's nothing there right now. And so we got to spend some time, and you get to see the light bulbs go off. Every one of them, there's different triggers that is, oh, I can see how this works for my family or for this person or for that industry. So much so that they want us back in 4 weeks to come and spend an entire half day walking through our platform, training them about it, planning out rollouts within the organization. And they're the number 4 as far as size as this professional organization chapter in the country. And so building those relationships and helping to propagate that with that, and trade organizations only make up for this one specifically 4.5% of all electrical contractors in the country. And so it's a base pool to feed it. And then it's going to be the word of mouth, the simplicity and the ability is like, hey, we've got this amazing tool that helps you manage your people, manage your projects, loan and borrow when you need to, so you can keep people employed and keep them turning riches and help them feed their families. And if you get on this too, it's going to help you with the same tools, and it's going to help us connect when we need to support each other.
Well, love it. So Ben, have you seen, getting back to kind of talking about the practical application of this, right? You come from been here in the trades. Ben and Brad, you guys have both spent a long time in construction, like decades in the field. But Ben, what have you seen? I'm just curious about the kind of practical application of this. What have you seen as to be the downside if someone is not using a tool like this? Because I just really want to make the case of how useful this is. Do you have any kind of stories of what has happened on the job sites that you're on, or even hypothetical stories of what can happen if, a big construction company, big concrete company has got 50, 70 employees, and maybe the economy changes a little bit and now they don't need all of those people on the job? Have you experienced this, and what are the real world implications of not having a tool like this?
Wow. We all lived through COVID. And one of the biggest things was the uncertainty that created for well-established companies that might have been on a growth model before it happened, especially if they weren't in essential projects, roadways, infrastructure. Those jobs kept going. They didn't stop. Yet a lot of the other types of contractors had their skilled craft sitting at home. They couldn't work. They were under orders not to work. With a platform like ConX, you put them up there as available. There was plenty of contractors that were working. They just didn't know that there was people with a need. So the ability of a company is one of the biggest things, especially from a management or owner's standpoint, is being able to have the company culture and that employees feel as a part of it. Just unknowns and uncertainties in the construction market, knowing that you have a platform that you could land guys to keep them working, or if you have a project that completion deadline changes, you can find them. The ability to have retention, knowing with all you guys knowing that they're going to come into work on Monday. And if you don't have a job or project for them, but you care enough about them that you're going to have them working somewhere, it's huge.
Amazing. Guys, you're onto something amazing here. I haven't used the tool, but I've taken a look at your website. You guys have got a lot of great videos on the site that really really answer a lot of questions about how it all works. But really, I've talked to a lot of contractors, as we all do here. But here on the show, we talk with a lot of folks, and really probably the single biggest sticking point is it's the most common question I ask. It's how do you deal with labor? Because it's so difficult to find labor these days. I ask people how they take care of their team. And it's become clear to me over the last few years, as I've talked to a lot more contractors here, how important that relationship piece of labor is. And these aren't just some guys showing up that you don't know their name, their wife and their kids birthdays and the grades that their kids are in, and problems in sickness, or someone dealing with a problem in their life, or their dog passed, whatever. And I don't know, I have chills talking about this, thinking about how important it is as a leader of a company in your local area doing construction to take care of your team. That's what everyone says. I say, what's your secret? You've got this big team. See, we really take care of them, and we make sure that they understand that we care about them. And the biggest thing that's a signal that someone, that a leader of a construction company doesn't care about their team is that they get a new job and they say, well, you're laid off. They can't avoid that in many cases, but with your tool, very likely they can avoid that. If you're listening here as a builder, whether commercial, residential, I'd love for you to go take a look at these guys' tool. And as Brad said, it's free to join. There's no credit card. Okay. There's no cost, and sounds like no risk to get into this. And I'm absolutely intrigued by what you guys are doing. Brad, if folks want to get in touch with you guys and they want to try out the tool, what's the best way to get in touch with you guys and get that going?
Yeah, it's going to be our website. Yeah, I definitely appreciate the plug and again this opportunity, Mark, to share the word. This is how we've got to get it out to create this national people that we're trying to create. So it's our website. It's just ConX-USA.com. It connects to ConX-USA.com, and then there's contact information there, and you can sign up for an account there, learn more information. We are doing a little bit of an overhaul of the website, so there's some nice updates coming on, some more better information, because there's a lot of different things that we're doing on the philanthropic end that we want to make sure that we showcase there. One is trying to backfeed the industry by working with organizations that rehab individuals trying to get on their feet and trying to get their life back on track. One of the big things we see, the big shortage in the construction industry, so we're working with military, a lot of other organizations to help bring that. So there is a place that they can actually apply on our website, and our contractors can find these individuals, vet them easily through our website, and hire them.
Fantastic. And we didn't even really get a chance to get into you guys' backgrounds. You guys have all got colorful, fascinating backgrounds, doing beautiful work in the community. Castle Rock, down south of Denver, is a beautiful community. You guys are there and doing just a lot of extracurricular, a lot of important community work. And it sounds like a faith-based business as well. And we just love to hear all of that. It just says so much about what you guys are bringing to it. That's not just the company. And so hopefully you'll get a chance to talk with Alan, Ben, and Brad over at ConX. And again, the way that website is, just to make sure everyone has it, it's ConX, like ConX-USA.com. ConX, ConX-USA.com. Fantastic. Guys, it's a big meeting having you all here today. I'm sure it wasn't totally easy to wrangle everybody's time. So really grateful that you guys all were able to make it today, and just absolutely wishing you the best of luck in 2026 and beyond. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Mark.
All right.
All right, take care.
Mark.